Forged by Fire, Chapter 13. Gerald and Angel couldn't have made it through the trial without Mr. Washington. Monique was sometimes angry, often irritable, and always tense. She yelled at Angel for spilling her milk, and blamed Gerald for the toast that she had burned. At the trial, she insisted on wearing a bright red satin dress, even though Gerald and Angel told her to wear something a little more business-looking. "If that's the last Jordan's going to see of me before you two lying devils send him away, he's going to remember me as looking good," she exclaimed. "We ain't lying, Mama," Angel tried to explain, but Monique refused to listen. She didn't want to hear it. On the first day of the court proceedings, Gerald held Angel's hand as they sat on the worn brown wooden bench in the hall outside the courtroom. Monique's high heels clicked on the polished floor as she paced back and forth. She went down the hall to the bathroom 6 times in half an hour to check her makeup and hair. No one spoke. Just as the bailiff came into the hall to call them to the courtroom, Mr. Washington turned the corner and strode toward them, smiling. Gerald looked up and grinned with pleasure and relief. "I didn't expect, I'm surprised, man, am I glad you're here." Mr. Washington replied in his deep, cheerful voice, "I figured you might need another hand to hold. Hi there, Angel." Angel looked up shyly but did not speak. Monique, returning from still another makeup check, patted her hair and smoothed her dress as she approached the tall, well-dressed man speaking to Gerald. "Monique, this is Darrell Washington. He's—" Just then, the court clerk called them a second time. Gerald was relieved that he didn't have to explain to Monique exactly how Mr. Washington had helped them. Not only had he helped Gerald and Angel file the proper papers to explain to the courts exactly how Jordan had been molesting Angel, but he had also made sure a caring and understanding social worker was assigned to their case, and he had found a wonderful female counselor for Angel, someone she could talk to about the bad dreams she sometimes had and the bad feelings left over from her experiences with Jordan. Monique gave one more curious glance at Darrell Washington as she hurried into the courtroom. She left the children standing in the hall, unsure of what to do. Mr. Washington took their hands, squeezed them in assurance, and escorted them into the courtroom. Jordan sat at a table on the right side of the room, his face angry, glaring as Angel and Gerald walked into the room. Jordan's lawyer, a thin man with dirty fingernails, shuffled his papers and checked his watch frequently. Monique sat in the front row, across from Jordan in a position where he could see her well. She smiled at him, but he didn't even look at her. On the right side of the room sat the jury, mostly women. They looked at Angel and Gerald without smiling, but their eyes showed understanding and perhaps even a bit of sympathy. Gerald and Angel were told by the prosecutor they would only have to answer a few questions and then they could leave the room. She told them that neither one of them was in trouble and not to be overwhelmed or frightened by the proceedings. It was Jordan, she reminded them, that had done wrong, and he was the only one on trial. They were just witnesses. Gerald relaxed a bit and breathed in slowly. He felt stiff and uncomfortable in the tight, dark suit and afraid of all the strangers who seemed to be controlling his life today. Angel trembled and sat close to Gerald. Mr. Washington sat in the row behind them and patted their shoulders. "I'll be right here, kids. Just relax and tell the truth. You'll be fine." Gerald nodded, but he felt sick and dizzy. Angel's eyes were closed and she breathed slowly and carefully. The prosecutor, a round woman dressed all in green, including green fingernails done to match her bright green shoes, began by explaining to the jury what the charges were against Jordan, describing him as a despicable monster. She said she hated putting the children through this, but their testimony was essential. Gerald's name was called first. "State your name, son." "Gerald Nickleby." "Do you understand that everything you say here must be the truth?" "Yes, ma'am." "What grade are you in?" "I'm in the 6th grade at Hazelwood Middle School." "How long have you been living with Jordan and Monique Sparks?" 2 years, ever since my Aunt Queen died." "Do you get along with your parents?" "Monique is my mother, but Jordan is not my daddy. He's Monique's husband, and he says he's Angel's daddy, but he's no father of mine." "What kind of father is Jordan?" "No kind. He smacks me and punches me all the time. I got cuts and bruises all over me, but that ain't the problem. I can deal with that. It's what he does to Angel that I can't stand." "Can you explain?" Gerald looked at Monique. She was looking at Jordan, whispering, "I'm sorry," across the room. Gerald looked away with disgust and glanced at Mr. Washington. He still couldn't believe that a busy man would take the time to come and be with them. Mr. Washington smiled at Gerald in encouragement. Gerald took a deep breath. He goes into Angel's bedroom at night. He's messing with her, and it makes me sick. Have you ever seen him touch her in an improper way? Well, no, but I know he does. Did she ever tell you? She was really scared, but yeah, she told me about it finally. So I got help, and the police found him in her bedroom. Thank you, Gerald. The defense lawyer asked only a few questions. Gerald, he began, Mr. Sparks says you are lying. If you have never really seen him doing anything to Angel, how can you sit there and accuse him with no proof? I see how scared Angel is, and I see how Jordan likes to touch her hair and put his hands on her back. I am not lying. The lawyer shrugged, checked his watch, picked his nose, then said carelessly, No further questions. Gerald sat down gratefully. When Angel's name was called, she almost fainted. Gerald walked with her and helped her sit in the witness chair. I'm only going to ask you a few questions, honey, okay? Don't be afraid, just tell the truth. Angel nodded, barely able to breathe. Tell us your name. Angel Sparks. Do you understand that everything you say here must be the truth? Yes, ma'am. What grade are you in? 2nd grade. We're going to use this doll, okay? You just point to the doll to help you answer the questions, all right? Angel nodded again and hugged the doll the prosecutor gave her. She asked her about Jordan and what life was like with him. Angel whispered her answers, but she told the truth. Are you afraid of him? Yes, ma'am. Can you tell us why? He yells. Is that all? He hits. Does he hit you? Sometimes. Mostly he hits Gerald and Mama. Does he ever hurt you? Sometimes. How? Angel hesitated. He makes me play games. What kind of games? Bad games. Can you explain what kind of bad games? I know this is hard for you, but we're almost finished. Touchy-feely games. Can you show me on the doll? The doll was really helpful. When the prosecutor asked Angel where Jordan had hit Gerald, for example, Angel pointed to the doll's back and face. And when she asked about where Jordan had touched her, Angel was able to use the doll to show what he had done. When the prosecutor was finished, the defense lawyer whispered to Jordan, started to get up, then sat back down. No questions, Your Honor. Thank you, Angel, the prosecutor in green said. That's all. You and Gerald can leave now. You were very brave. Angel and Gerald walked out of the courtroom together. Neither looked at Jordan. Monique refused to look at them. Mr. Washington took them both to lunch, but Angel couldn't eat. It took the jury less than an hour to decide his fate that afternoon. He was found guilty on all counts, and the judge, sentencing him immediately, gave him 6 to 10 years in prison. As he was taken away, Angel finally breathed deeply. Gerald watched the door close and smiled with grim satisfaction. Finally, Jordan would be in a place where he could no longer threaten them. A caseworker was assigned to the family, and it was decided that Gerald and Angel would stay with Monique for the time being. Mr. Washington smiled at Gerald at the end of that very long day. My boy Rob could learn quite a bit from you, Gerald. You got guts. And remember, you also have me. You call me if things start to get shaky, you hear? I will, but we'll be fine now. I can handle Monique. She ain't like most mamas, but she's all we got. We'll do all right. I know you will, son. I'm sure of it.